Thank the Dean, Mr. D, for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be before Christ Church and your amazing members. Maya Angelou said, I come as one, I stand as 10,000. You come as 10 and you stand as 100,000. So I know that you all represent a much broader group of interested and engaged citizens, and what you hear today, you're going to spread like wildfire. And I want to thank you all so much for the fact that you took some time out today to come and listen to me. You could be a lot of different places. Many of you have heard me before, so I'm going to kind of cut the introduction short and leave time for questions. I do think this is an important time in our city. It's an important time to have a leader, I think, who understands and has a perspective on the two Cincinnatis, right? Can you hear me? The two Cincinnatis, right? The fact that we have a part of our city that needs investment, that needs a commitment, that needs love, that needs to be safe, that needs to be thriving, and we have a part of our city that is growing and is doing exceptionally well. You know, my vision is a bold vision for our city to be the #1 urban city in the country. I believe we can do that, but only if we make sure that we have equity in the way that our city, the way we invest in our city, and the way that we move forward. A great city is not measured by how the best are doing, but how, pardon the religious reference, how we treat the least of these, right? And I've dedicated the last 6 years of my life on council, and a tremendous part of my life working with those who we might consider the least of these. And so when my opponent says, oh, she doesn't have a record, what he's saying is the people that she's worked with don't matter. We've worked with and rescued victims of sex trafficking with our work in anti-human trafficking. We have put homeless people to work through our employment pipeline program. We have elevated the voice of our young people, encouraging them and giving them the steps that they need to be successful. We have partnered and supported the work of small businesses across our city, whether they have a storefront, or whether they're a food truck, or whether they're a brewery, or whether they have a good or service that they're providing. We've given them the resources that they need. We have elevated the voice of community in our work in neighborhoods and said that the neighborhood voice matters. And it matters ahead of developers, and it matters ahead of business, right? And that's important because we have to make sure as a government that we don't leave out the voices that are so easily and naturally left out. It's our job to make sure that our residents, the people who call Cincinnati home, also have a seat at the table. So this is an important election because I do think there is a contrast message, right? The idea that we would have a leader who is people first. The campaign is people powered. We're small, we're scrappy. We were outraised by $1 million, and we won the primary by 11 points. Anybody who's religious has to know that God was in that. We're going to give God the glory on that. I said, you know, God, you showed out. 2 points, I might have been able to claim that I did this. 11 points, I got to give you the glory for sure. And we're pushing ahead, I think, to a general election that will be so much closer. Right, the issues that we're putting in the forefront are the issues we've stood for the entire time, but I think as mayor we'll be able to make sure that we do this work the right way, and we do it in a way that makes people proud. So we've got to have a conversation about housing. We've got to have a conversation about transit. We've got to have a conversation about investing in our neighborhoods in a way that does not push people out, but keeps people where they live. We've got to have a conversation about making sure that we have real equity in everything that we do in our city, that we don't have two cities, depending on if you're black or you're white or you're brown or red or blue or purple, or depending on where you live in the city or how much money you make, right? We have to have a city that works for everyone. And as someone who has lived in both the valleys of our city and who has been blessed to live also in the hills of our city, I know how important it is right now to make sure we have a city that's coming together. The national discourse has made it imperative for us to be a city that comes together. We're still the 5th most segregated city in the country. I don't proclaim to be able to change that in 4 or 8 years, but we're certainly going to have a conversation about what it means for us to come together. We're more alike than different, and to be a community that even if we can't correct the physical segregation, that we're not segregated in our spirits and our hearts, that we come together and we understand our commonalities and our forward-reaching goals as a city. So I'm gonna, I hope to have your support. I can't wait to engage you in questions. If you have specifics, everybody who knows me knows that I'm a wonk. I can give you the data, I can give you the details, I can give you the numbers. I don't like to do that in the intro, but I do want to have that conversation with you, particularly on the issues that matter most to you. So I'll yield to questions. This is the time. This is my city, this is my home. I'm ready to lead this city right now. Thank you. Yes.
Do you have a position